What's up, watchers? Will here with a Marvel video for you, and we're doing a little theory mixed with a little bit of news. So, apparently, Jon Bernthal, who plays Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, has expressed interest in having Spider-Man and the Punisher cross over. Now, of course, he's only an actor and can't really have a huge influence on Marvel's plans for their characters, but considering that Tom Holland helped Bernthal get his job, if I recall correctly, and they seem like they get along pretty well, why not we just have fun with the idea? Honestly, the only way I could see this happening is doing something like a Netflix movie because budget, where locations would be kind of cheap, but the most expensive thing would be getting Holland, his costume, and probably some of his effects. I think it would be a nice challenge because it may force them to go a little bit more practical than rely on the cleanups of CGI. So, let's pitch a movie. I'd probably make this one small. Punisher is trying to start a newer, quieter life, but trouble starts stirring in the little corner of New York that he's now moved to. People are getting bullied and hustled for money, and so he grabs some light weaponry and decides to do a little espionage. He discovers that a local gang is shaking down kind community members for money in exchange for, quote, protection from the Kingpin. Thing is, while he's investigating, so is Spider-Man. He's up on the ceiling being quiet as he watches the meeting go down. Punisher is trying to figure out who the hell this new guy is, while Spidey wants to make a plan to catch the bad guy and save the day. One of them gets noticed, and you get a darkened action sequence that is illuminated by the bangs of gunfire, and you kind of hear all the thwips of webs as the gang gets wrapped up by Spidey. Both our leads get a down second, and Punisher, clearly confused, wonders who the hell this new guy is. He thinks he's a freak and tries to unload a round on him, which Spidey dodges because Spidey sense. He dodges a few more shots, kind of like a dance, until Spidey webs his guns away from him, telling him that that's not nice. So, they finally talk, and Spidey learns this is bigger than he thinks. One of the surviving members comes to, and they play good cop, bad cop. Punisher, being bad cop, manages to torture some info out of him, even though Spidey thinks he may have gone a little too far. They bicker, but realize that this is an enemy of my enemy type situation, and resolve that they both have abilities that can help one another in a fight. So, they make a plan to get more information about who's really running the show in Frank's new home, and if the rumors of Kingpin are actually true. To keep things brief, the two end up in a firefight with Spidey actually running out of web fluid because it becomes the two of them against essentially an army. He has to get crafty with attacks, but in the process takes a bullet to the side. Frank takes out the remaining people except for the leader and cripples him so he can't get too far, while Spidey uses the last of his web fluid to try and keep from bleeding out. Frank realized that Kingpin has had nothing to do with any of these, and it was just kind of a bunch of unknown punks banding together to rob some kind old people. He capitalizes off the fear that the name of the Kingpin had created. So, the threat is defeated and he kinda has to tend to Spidey. Spidey passes out and Frank lifts up his mask to reveal that he's just a kid. He thought he was just short and young, but not like a teenager young, and so he has to carry him, kind of like that famous comic book panel, back to his home, and he kind of calls Karen trying to figure out what to do. Karen says she knows someone discreet and gives him an address that he races to, telling Peter, "You did great, kid." He gets a little extra protective just because he remembers his young son and can only imagine how terrified this kid's parents must be. So Frank ends up at Claire Temple's place. He damn near kicks in the door and tells her it's an emergency, this kid is bleeding fast and he needs help, and he can't take him to a hospital because vigilante. And Karen told him also to go to Claire's place. Claire gets her tools, patches him up, and offers him some of her boyfriend's clothes to switch up because people don't need to know that Frank Castle is still hanging around New York. The night passes and he's been stabilized. Peter wakes up the next day with a lot of his costume torn from the fight and the emergency aid. Frank is sleeping nearby in a chair, and Claire says that he stayed up and watched him like a guard dog all night. Peter kind of smiles and tells her thank you and remarks about needing to invest in a vibranium weave. She's kind of confused by his reference, and then he asks what time it is. Peter, still in pain, panics and hobbles up, telling Claire that his aunt is going to kill him. She tries to warn him from moving too much as he still needs to heal. His mask is damaged, and so he grabs a brown paper bag, pokes holes in it, puts it on to Claire's confusion, and crawls out of a nearby window even though she tries to stop him, hopping from rooftop to rooftop in the distance. Frank wakes up and freaks out and asks where the kid went. She says he just kind of ran away, saying something about an aunt. Frank thanks her, and Claire offers her and Luke's place as a short-term refuge if he needs to lay a little low for a few more hours. He declines and tells her thanks for saving the kid and makes his way home. The little movie ends with him being approached by an elderly couple that says they don't get calls requesting money anymore. It's strange, but they feel like someone is finally looking out for the little guy. Frank smiles and goes about his day. So yeah, that's an idea. If you like it, tell me why. If you would have done something very, very different, let me know down in the comments below as well. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, Hybrid Network. Also, consider checking out our website and Patreon for more content. I'm Will, and I'll see you next time.
Check out our Facebook and Twitter. Also, check out our website for the latest news articles and editorials. Also, please donate to our Patreon if you'd like to see us get better with our content. Every little bit helps, and we appreciate it all.